'Cause I'm living my best life, and I ain't gonna hold back. 'Cause I'm living my best life, and I ain't got time to be fooling with you. They say closed mouths won't get fed. Like a oh, say, can you see by early light what so proudly we hailed in the twilight's whose broad strides and bright stars through the perilous fight over earth we watch was so gallantly streaming, and the road gets red, the bombs bursting in air, gave the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that
Hey everybody, it's your girl Genine LaTrice Perez once again coming to you, and I've got a special guest right now, Mr. Stephen Gray. He's going to tell you what he does, why we were here on this very special occasion. I know it's the third event, but I don't want to get into the details. I want him to tell you so that our How You Living Arkansas viewers will know what's going on and how they can be involved and impact the community.
All right, I'm Stephen Gray, as she said. I'm the Substance Abuse Collegiate Program Coordinator for the Division of Aging, Adult, and Behavioral Health Services. I know that's a lot.
Right, that's why I didn't say it. That's why I didn't say it. You do that.
Okay, so today we're here at the Save Our Students Kickoff. Save Our Students Kickoff commences twice a year during the fall and spring semester. It's a week where we have all the colleges in the state that want to participate to have an event on their college campus where we're raising social awareness about substance prevention and abuse around the state. So the first day, it commences with a kickoff at the state capitol. As you see, we're here at the capitol now.
Right.
Normally we're on the steps of the state capitol, but due to the weather, we had to come on the inside, so we're not going to let no rain stop our show. So today we provided a platform for our high school juniors and seniors, our college students, as well as our public and elected officials, as well as community members and allies to come up, have a platform so they can talk about substance misuse. The whole community came out, so the community is key in terms of stopping substance prevention. Colleges and universities can't do it on their own. It takes the community to do that. So it was a blessing for everybody to be able to come out, show the students that they are important, that we do care, and we're here to support them.
You did that. You did that.
That was a mouthful.
Look, it's a mouthful, but you know your job, you know what your mission is, you know what you're doing, and you're going to allow everybody to live their best life, okay? The people that you impact, you're going to allow that. So this is how you living, and of course, the tag is how you living. I hope you living your best life. So, everybody, how you living? I hope you're living your best life. This is my girl, Tanisha Barnes. She's going to tell you a little bit about what she does, who she works for, who she's representing, and this new program and project throughout the state called Me Over Meth. I'm sure you've seen the billboards going up everywhere. I choose me over meth, but I don't know all the particulars, although I am a region non-prevention provider.
Yes, she is.
I know that we are kicking it, just got kicked off, and we're excited about it. But I want you, Tanisha, to go ahead and give the people a little bit about what Me Over Meth is, okay?
I will do. So, Me Over Meth is one of our programs that we have started through SAMHSA. So that's the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration. That is a federal funded program that gave us funding. So we did it through our COVID grant. That's the SABG, Substance Abuse Block Grant dollars, to talk about the #1 drug that's ailing our state, which is meth. I know you hear a lot of times that we're talking about opioids, but no, meth is the #1 drug in Arkansas. So that's why we started. We were so excited to get this funding, to know that we finally got monies dedicated to just the #1 drug, methamphetamines. So with that, we started this program called Me Over Meth. So that program is to educate Arkansans about what meth is, how is it coming into our state, how do we get preventionists, not just prevention, our communities, our students, our regional prevention providers, all of them across the state, talking about how do we stop, how do we help, what's going on with methamphetamines in our state of Arkansas. Anything, or what's your next question, love?
I do have a question. What is the highest demographic?
Ooh, that's a good question.
For those who are using Me Over Meth, and I have a reason for asking that, but I want you to tell me.
So with that, so you know, the data, that's one of the biggest things that we have when it comes to Me Over Meth, because while we're talking about meth, we didn't have a standardized data form to tell us what we are doing. So to break that out, everything is self-reported. We use what we have, sometimes may be our drug task force data. We may use our prevention or treatment data. We know that we don't have the data to support it. So all the data that I'm actually telling you right now is actually volunteered through our treatment programs. So those demographics are broken down, but we do not see, and I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you that I cannot give you a basis to tell you what background is using these drugs. We just know that I would hate to put something out there to say, because we're so new to this data, that I wanna make sure that we're talking about it, gathering the data, and you know that prevention is data-led. So with that, I will tell you the methamphetamines that we are seeing in treatment, there is a higher population of Caucasian Americans that are using it, but this is not your back door in the fields type of meds that they cook up meth anymore. These are on the street, coming into pill form, that they are actually putting them in the hands of our students. They're putting them in the hands of our communities. They're putting it in the hands of everyone that's out there using these drugs. So it's becoming an epidemic in Arkansas, not an opioid epidemic, but we actually have a meth epidemic that's happening here. So what we're trying to do, along with the Arkansas State Drug Director and the Department of Human Services, we put this Me Over Meth program together to start bringing awareness to the #1 drug that's in Arkansas.
Woo, that is a mouthful, and you know your stuff. Thank you so very much for bringing it to the state of Arkansas. Thank you so very much for being on the front lines of prevention and helping. And the reason I brought that question up is because one of the things you see, you've seen the billboards out there, and you've seen African American pictures on there, and typically people would just state that, well, that's not a African American or a black drug, that is indicative of other populations. But from what I do understand, on the nationwide level, there is a percentage of African Americans or the black population, whatever people want to say. Okay, because I'm brown skin. Okay, right. But anyway, whatever people want to say, that it still affects that particular population as well. And so I wanted to make sure it's not just a specific demographic kind of thing. It's for all people.
We do all,
and it's up for all class divisions. If you want to say that.
Because right now, if you see the billboards that we put out, you see a plethora of different types of, as I say, backgrounds. We're asking everyone to choose their natural state. We played off of Arkansas, the natural state. You see that we're guiding it from the family aspect, because we know that our youth are not, as you see the data, the youth is not the ones that's being targeted. It's actually their parents, the older generations. That 20 to 55 is a population where methamphetamines is just taking us out. So what we start to do is to pull on your heart. pull on to say, choose me, mom, choose me, dad, choose me, auntie, choose me, pastor, choose me, lawyer. I am a lawyer, I'm a farmer, I am Arkansas. Choose your natural state. So that's why we were playing on the tugs of different backgrounds that you saw on those billboards. We're asking the families, the mothers, the fathers, the daughters, the sisters, the brothers, the neighborhood, watch. We're asking everyone to choose your natural state.
So my name is Michaela Wingfield. I am a person in long-term recovery. It didn't start like that. I started using marijuana at the age of 13. I had a good childhood. My dad was a pastor, my mom was on the praise team, my brother played in the band. Nothing ever happened to me that was like traumatic. I was born with crack cocaine in my system, so I was put up for adoption. And so it's kind of like I was already an addict to begin with when I was a baby. So once I got introduced to marijuana, it was like on and popping. I loved it. I was like, I'm gonna be a stoner the rest of my life. This is me. And later on in life, I got introduced to Roxy 30s, Xanax, alcohol, all the things. And once I found heroin, I felt like it was a warm blanket coming out of the dryer, wrapping me really, really tight. Once I found it, I was like, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I needed. This is what I wanted. Like, I'm gonna be a heroin/fentanyl addict the rest of my life. With that being said, I overdosed 13 times, been thrown in the shower, CPR'd, almost left for dead, like all the things, because my life wasn't important to me. So when I would overdose, I would tell people, just throw me out, throw me in the dumpster, like I don't matter. So that also led me into 3 different rehabs. One was in Chicago, one was in Little Rock, and one was in Newport. And so the last rehab, I was just sick and tired of living that life. I decided to change my life and turn it over to God, and I just prayed to God, like, please, if I'm supposed to be sober, if I'm supposed to be clean, take all the urges, take all the wants, take all the triggers, take everything away from me if I'm supposed to fulfill my purpose with you. And I just woke up one day and everything was gone. Everything I prayed for was gone. I haven't wanted to get high since. I don't have triggers, like nothing messes with me, nothing phases with me. In the work that I do, like I do have drugs in my hands, I do see people high, like all the things, and it doesn't bother me. God has completely taken that from me, and I'm so grateful for that. And I work as a peer support specialist for the state, and so that's pretty cool because I was running from the state, catching charges, and now they give me a work phone, a state credit card, a state vehicle, and they trust me. So that goes back to the trust that like is one of my biggest like accomplishments, is getting my trust back from my family, my friends, my coworkers, my boss, state employees. Like I never thought I would have a life like I did today. Like I never thought I would be 4 years in the state capitol right now talking to everyone clean. Like I just never would have thought. Like I have my family back, I have my friends back. I have people that look up to me today, like, and people that ask me, how'd you get clean, Michaela? Like, and I get to tell them, I get to tell them my story, I get to go and speak places, and all the opportunities that I've been blessed with are like out of this world. So I'm really grateful for all the things that I have.
Hello, my name is Timothy Baker, and I am standing here before you to tell you my story. A little bit about me. I grew up in Newport, Arkansas. I was raised by a single mother, home with my older brother. Pretty much had a good childhood life, kind of say, if you don't take all the setbacks and stuff I went through. I was kidnapped at 4 out the courthouse with my father during the custody abuse. I did not see my mother again until I was 5 years old. I mean, growing up in a divorce home is probably where a lot of my problems come that I tried to overcome and use substances to cope with. just being a fatherless child and growing up wanting a relationship with my father probably is what led me to a life of doing drugs. I recall the first time probably smoking weed when I was 3 with my dad and his friends at their junkyard. So I mean, I was destined to be an addict, you could say. That by the time I was 16, I was probably selling drugs to support my habit. I ended up graduating high school and was hooked on methamphetamines for about a year or 2. I will be 23 years clean this November from methamphetamines. I grew into becoming a drug dealer in my town where I sold marijuana to fuel my addiction and get through life. I basically, a few years ago after getting put on probation, I started smoking synthetic marijuana. I've been clean of that for 7 years now. I ended up doing some time in ADC. I went to Arkansas Department of Corrections boot camp to try to get back to my kids, being a single father, raising them. I tried to take the quickest way home. Upon my completion, my parole plan was denied, so I was placed at Tucker Max for about 3.5 weeks, where I basically realized that I had wasted so many years of my life being addicted and using drugs, and I wanted better. So when I came home, I vowed that I would give my kids a better life than I had gave them prior to prison. I mean, my son and daughter grew up in a drug house. I mean, I sold drugs for a living for part of my life, to where when I did come home, I didn't want to live that life no more. So I wanted better. I went to work full time, and last year I was sitting in my parole appointment and asking God, after COVID had caused me to lose my job as a welder, what I was going to do with myself. And that's when Miss Tara Bennett walked out and said, "Who wants to go to college?" So I basically stood up, went back there to talk to her because it was a lifetime dream. And I asked God, I said, "God, is this what you want me to do?" He said, "You always wanted to go to college." So I followed him. And I enrolled at Shorter College in August of last year, where I became the vice president of the SGA. I was also on the president's list for fall of 2021. I have also recently been appointed to the SGA president for the fall and spring term. I have mentored, started a mentoring service, Mentors for Success. I also, for the last 5 months, have worked as a volunteer for the Arkansas Martin Luther King Commission, and was recently made captain in the volunteer ranks, where I work closely with the executive director, Deshaun Scarborough, of the Arkansas Martin Luther King Commission. Continue to plan on working with him for very long endeavors. When I graduate next spring from Shorter, I plan on continuing my education for my bachelor's in business administrator at Philander, and there the sky's the limit. I mean, the words of encouragement I would tell you is, what do you want your legacy to be? Do you want to be known as somebody that made poor choices, had no guidance, didn't hold yourself accountable? I mean, the best advice I can tell you is, surround yourself with positive people, people that want you to do better and be the person. I mean, you have a purpose. God didn't put you here for no reason. I mean, you have a calling on your life, and it's your duty to be that person, to be the man that you want to be, the woman you want to be the better you. I mean, I stand here before you as a testament that no matter what your past mistakes are, if you spent 13 years, 365 days locked up behind a cell, that is not who you are. That does not define you. Who you define is who you stand up and be after you fail. Stand back up, raise up to be, like they say, you are a phoenix. Rise from your ashes. You are not a product of your environment. You are not an outcome of situations you've overcome. I mean, the world is the limit. I stand before you. 6 years ago, I was in Tucker Max, waiting on a parole plan. Now I'm soon to be the SGA president of HBCU. I never thought I'd be sitting here speaking at the state capitol. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I sat and met Master P and had a conversation with him. I mean, I met Pooch Hall. I mean, volunteer work has led to a lot of things. I met one of my favorite actors as a kid. I mean, my life is a movie now, all because I took a chance to better myself and get an education to take me to the limit.
So wow, everyone, this is your girl Genine LaTrice Perez on How You Living, Arkansas. And when I tell you that these stories have impacted my life. I mean, I'm meeting them for the very first time. They were here for another event, and I'm so glad and so blessed to have had the opportunity to meet you, just like my production manager, okay? She's got tears in her eyes. I had tears in my eyes. You had to reach out and hug me because I could not control the amount of emotions that I had for you being so real in telling your stories, so raw in telling your stories. I appreciate that. I appreciate that for the young people that are gonna hear this. I appreciate this for adults that are gonna hear this, because you are a blessing. You are a blessing, know that. Now you're able to give back and share your stories. I'm so thankful that you're not afraid to share your story. I'm so elated that you have overcome those obstacles and that you're still fighting for others, as well as your family, your friends, and your loved ones. So keep it up, all right? I love to ask people how you living, because I want you to live your best life. You're doing that. You're doing that, okay? You mentioned in your speech, I wasn't living my best life, and I was over there like, but baby, you are now.
Yes.
So I'm so thankful that you are where you are right now. And hey, give it up, people. Give it up, okay? Y'all, this is Michaela. This is Timothy. I would tell you their last names, but it's on the screen. You're gonna be able to see that. And they have captured my heart, as well as I know that their stories have captured yours. So y'all continue to tune in to How You Living. We have a podcast here. We're about to rev this right back up for our new season, and you all are the first for our new podcast season. Thank you so very much for being here. It is a joy. Give me a hug, girl. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. Now, y'all stay tuned. How y'all living? Hey!